In the aftermath of the financial crisis of 2008, there was a sense that a new and fairer economic model could be created. The system as it was just not working for far too many people. A new model would allow workers to participate and benefit more fully in the economy of the country. Non seulement ce changement n'a pas eu lieu, mais la crise a été utilisée par le milieu des affaires et les gouvernements de droite comme excuse pour organiser une attaque contre les syndicats, un assaut sans précédent depuis les 50 dernières années. Aujourd'hui, nous nous heurtons à des employeurs arrogants, agressifs et souvent impitoyables qui ont peu de liens avec leur communauté ou avec leur main-d'œuvre. Conservative-minded commentators have successfully characterized workers as undeserving and unions as special interest groups. With a great deal of help, the right has drowned out any opposing views. Les syndicats aux États-Unis ont été dangereusement près de disparaître. Dans le secteur privé, le taux de syndicalisation tourne autour de 7%. Dans l'ensemble de l'économie, le taux est près de 11%. Les syndicats se sont fait écraser sous le poids de lois antisyndicales, d'employeurs impitoyables et de leurs propres échecs. Here in Canada, we have fared better, but we are losing ground as well. The current rate of unionization is about 17% in the private sector and 29% overall. We are now at the point the U.S. was in 1984, and this downward drift is accelerating.
Well, the labor movement is under siege, and many leaders are trying their very best to respond to the new reality, the new economic, the new political reality.
We're getting it from multiple sources, between governments, between employers, between everybody in between, is trying to blame the labor movements for the economic crisis we're in.
Le président du SCEP, Dave Coles, et le président des TCA, Ken Lowenza, ont tous deux reconnu que le contexte actuel exige quelque chose de très différent. Les deux présidents étaient convaincus que pour revitaliser le mouvement syndical, il fallait une approche différente face au syndicalisme et à l'action politique. À l'automne 2011, ils se sont rencontrés de manière informelle pour discuter de problèmes qu'ils percevaient au sein du mouvement syndical et du désir d'être plus unis et plus actifs.
Ken and I sat together at the CLC and many times listening to the stories of despair about how workers were being hammered away, and then our own experiences and both our own unions. We just kept saying, this ain't right.
Just seemed an automatic conversation to have with CEP about the future of the labor movement. That's how it starts. What does the labor movement look like in the future? And can CEP and CAW do something different?
In January 2012, the unions jointly published a paper called A Moment of Truth. This frank and compelling document detailed the declining state of the labor movement and unions in Canada. The paper was also a call to action to change course and start doing things differently. The national executive boards of both unions agreed to continue and formalize the discussions around the possibility of creating a new union. A process was started. 8 représentants de chacun des syndicats ont été désignés au comité des propositions avec une forte représentation régionale. Le comité a reçu le mandat de développer une structure et des principes directeurs sur la fondation du nouveau syndicat. 3 membres du personnel de chacun des syndicats siégeraient aussi au comité. The committee was co-chaired by Peter Kennedy, Secretary-Treasurer of CAW, and Gaëtan Ménard, Secretary-Treasurer of CEP.
Nous devons développer, ça va être quoi? Les principes fondateurs de la nouvelle organisation. Sur quel principe cette organisation-là va se reposer? Et on les a donc développés, on les a écrits, et on les a mis sur les murs. L'idée étant de toujours avoir en tête que ce sont ces principes-là qui vont nous guider dans l'ensemble de nos discussions.
We put them up on the board, and they stayed on the board, and every time we got sidetracked in terms of our discussions, we'd always ask the question, how does that fit into these 12 guidelines? And if they didn't, then we knew we were off track and we had to get refocused.
this was one of the most important aspects of what we did. The key principles was done at the very first meeting that we had. Do we have the same values and principles? Right? And that's what we spent, the first meeting of the committee doing, is getting together and sharing our values and belief systems. And from there, we founded the key principles.
Coming into this process, we knew it was going to be a lot of hard work. You're bringing two distinct organizations together with different structures, and you're creating a new union. So it's exciting, it's hard work, it's long hours, but it's worth every second.
As we talked about the need to create something new, it became, right off the top important that we have a conversation with our membership about that.
I traveled with Gaetan and Peter and the CAW staff to meet with our members, and we've also had within CEP many, and the CAW as well, but we've also gone to many locals, and we've attended every educational event, anything we got invited to, wherever we could get some time to talk about the new union, we've done that.
Every time that we meet, we put together everything that we've discussed, and we get it out to both sides, both membership sides.
It reached out to involve both our unions in the process, trying to get as many leaders as we could into joint meetings to have discussions, making sure that every decision that was made along the way was public and was out there and people knew what was going on all the time.
Both of us were very similar in a lot of ways, especially the services we supply to our people. So that's what made it really easy, to put together. I believed, we had some tough conversations, which you always do, but at the end of the day, it was easy to build consensus, and report back.
We connected very nicely right from the beginning. There was a good feeling between the two groups, all throughout the staff.
Je ne sais pas si c'est la personnalité des personnes qui étaient alentour de la table, mais déjà après quelques rencontres, on était très à l'aise. Puis dans un projet comme celui-là, il faut être franc, il faut être honnête.
What's interesting about this whole process is that neither side has really come in thinking they have the big cards to play. That, we're coming in with an understanding that we have to change, that there's an expectation among our members that we're going to restructure, that we're going to move to something new.
I've learned more about the CAW now than I ever have. I'm sure they have too, learned about the CEP. And with so much in common, I feel very comfortable now going forward with them.
The proposal committee envisions a union where the membership meets together regularly to debate policies, hold leadership accountable, and set the direction. The union's structures will be based on an extensive grassroots system of regional councils, industrial councils, and a Canadian council. À la base du nouveau syndicat, toutes les sections locales feront partie de conseils régionaux qui discuteront de politique, de solidarité et d'action dans leur propre région. Les conseils régionaux vont élire des dirigeants de la base et former des comités sur de nombreuses questions, comme la condition féminine, l'équité et l'action politique. Les présidents des conseils régionaux seront membres du Conseil exécutif national et du Comité exécutif du Conseil canadien. The Canadian Council will regroup all local unions of the new union from right across the country. The Council will meet every year that there's no convention, ensuring that the entire union comes together at least once per year. The Canadian Council will be a forum for countrywide debate, accountability, solidarity, and action. The new union will also have an extensive network of 20 or more industry councils for members in industry groups. The industry councils will have the support of the national union to assist in pattern bargaining, organizing to build union density, and developing and advancing industrial policies for their industries. Les conseils industriels vont nommer des représentants au conseil exécutif qui seront élus par les délégués au conseil canadien, en tenant compte des exigences statutaires pour un équilibre régional et entre les sexes.
I think it's important that we try something new, that we create a new union, a large Canadian union. The old ways haven't worked.
On va faire les choses différemment, puis je suis entièrement convaincu là, que on se donne les outils pour un meilleur avenir pour les travailleurs et les travailleuses.
The new union will have a collective leadership working as a cohesive Canada-wide team. This will be a leadership team based on the rank and file. 19 of 25 executive board members will be rank and file, local union, and industry leaders. Les postes de la base au conseil exécutif incluront les présidents élus des nouveaux conseils régionaux du syndicat et du conseil québécois et des représentants des conseils industriels pour représenter les groupes industriels et de négociation. Des postes sont aussi prévus pour représenter les métiers spécialisés, les retraités, les travailleurs racisés et autochtones. 3 national officers, the President, Secretary-Treasurer, and the Quebec Director, will coordinate and lead Canada-wide activities. The leadership team will also include 3 elected regional directors in Western Canada, Ontario, and the Atlantic. Tout en étant représentatifs des régions, des industries et d'autres parties distinctes de l'effectif, tous les membres de l'équipe de direction seront élus et devront rendre des comptes. Ce groupe sera responsable de promouvoir les intérêts de l'ensemble des membres.
The board structure is important because both executive boards are going to change. There's going to be a new executive board, which is difficult for either party to imagine because we have our own entrenched executive boards, which both parties feel are very good. And so we needed to look at a board that was big enough so that there's lots of representation, but small enough to be effective.
We wanted an opportunity for anybody, no matter where they come from, no matter what industry they come from, no matter what region of the country they come from, that there's an opportunity for them to be able to be reflected in the leadership of the new union. So we spent a lot of time to try put that so everybody felt welcome, that they were part of this new union.
Et bien sûr, sur le plan financier, une grosse organisation qui rapporte des revenus de plus de 100 millions par année, bien, il y a moyen de faire des choses. Il y a moyen de bouger, il y a moyen d'être présent, il y a moyen de supporter, par exemple, tout l'ensemble du recrutement. On a dit qu'on allait mettre 10 % de nos revenus juste pour le recrutement. Ça représente 10 millions par année qui vont aller pour recruter des nouveaux membres. Alors ça, je pense que ce sont des façons, des résultats de oui, plus gros, ça peut être meilleur.
In terms of immediate support for our members, it means that we bring roughly $90 million in the CAW Strike Fund and about $43 million from the CEP Defense Fund, as they call it, which is roughly proportionate to our $90 million in terms of our respective membership bases today. To a point then where we have a strike defense fund in excess of $135 million.
C'est beaucoup d'argent, 135 millions. Nous avons décidé d'offrir peut-être un petit peu une meilleure protection pour nos travailleurs qui vont aller en grève ou en lock-out. Pas énorme, mais des petits changements qu'on suggère dans les recommandations. Mais juste de penser que tu as un fonds de 135 millions, moi je dis aux employeurs, faites attention, on est capable de supporter nos membres quand c'est le temps de se battre avec vous.
The new national union rate will be 0.735% of the workers' regular wages. Dues will be defined separately for the national union and the local union. For most CAW members, 0.735% is roughly equivalent to the national union's share of their current dues of 2 hours and 20 minutes. For CEP members, 0.735% represents a small decrease from the current per capita to the national union. Le nouveau syndicat sera solide financièrement, avec des revenus annuels de plus de 100 millions de dollars. Ces revenus seront répartis en 5 fonds. Fonds général, 75%. Fonds de grève, défense, 10%. Fonds de recrutement, 10%. Fonds d'éducation, 3,75%. Fonds du Congrès, 1,25%. Ces ressources financières vont permettre de livrer un service de haut niveau promis aux membres, de renforcer notre pouvoir de négociation et de développer le recrutement, les programmes d'éducation et l'influence politique comme jamais auparavant au sein du mouvement syndical canadien.
We need to form a stronger Canadian presence, a stronger presence in communities across the country. We need density. We need to be involved in our locals, involved in our communities, and I believe the process and what we're doing here today will really make that happen.
Devenant le premier et le plus gros, évidemment, ça nous donne les moyens d'améliorer plein de choses, plein de choses pour nos membres. Et aussi, ça inciterait certainement d'autres membres de se joindre à notre grande organisation et aussi peut-être d'autres organisations à venir se fusionner ou à joindre les rangs de notre nouveau syndicat qu'on va créer.
By allocating 10% of national dues revenues to a dedicated fund to support new member organizing, the new union is undertaking the largest and best-resourced organizing campaign in the history of Canadian unions.
If organizing isn't a priority, then the union will fail. And both parties acknowledge that, and we need to make it a huge commitment to organizing. And the commitment that we're giving of $50 million for the first 5 years is double what the two unions spend today. And that commitment needs to be there because organizing takes resources on top of a lot of other things. But certainly that's important. It's very, very important. And unions that put organizing front are successful.
I think it's something that we've all fallen down over the years, is pushed organizing to a backseat. And the new union is saying we're not going to do that anymore. It's going to be in the forefront, and that's where it's going to stay.
This new union that we're creating has the potential to have explosive growth. And our 305,000 members that we'll hit the ground running with could become significantly more in short order.
Ce nouveau syndicat, formé de plus de 300 000 membres, sera le plus grand syndicat du secteur privé au pays. Il représentera aussi des dizaines de milliers de membres du secteur public. The new union will be diverse, with tens of thousands of Aboriginal and workers of color. Members will be working in more than 20 different economic sectors, with a major presence in manufacturing, communications, transportation, resources, and services. The new union will represent over 86,000 women. This figure is larger than the entire membership of many unions. Le syndicat représentera le pays en entier, chaque région et chaque province, des petites municipalités aux principaux centres urbains.
The two groups coming together is going to create geographically better communities and bigger communities and more union dimension across Canada, not just in one region.
La vision du nouveau syndicat est audacieuse. Le nouveau syndicat aura la plus grande capacité de recrutement, les meilleurs programmes d'éducation et la plus grande influence politique jamais réunie auparavant par les syndicats au Canada.
We've talked about education candidly since the inception of this, and this is how we envision the labor movement is going to continue on, is through education.
It's an opportunity to create education for workers like never before, and we're really going to commit to bargain education monies from employers. We do that currently inside our union. We're really making a commitment with the new union to make sure that happens.
Une fois que ces deux congrès-là auront dit oui, ce que je souhaite, on va mettre en place différents comités qui vont regarder un paquet là, de choses à mettre en place pour le congrès de fondation. Donc, un comité, par exemple, sur les statuts, qui va devoir développer les statuts de cette nouvelle organisation. Un comité sur la transition, comment on s'organise par rapport à nos bureaux régionaux, comment on s'organise par rapport à notre staff.
A communications working group, an organizing working group. So those groups will begin to do their work in terms of getting ready for a founding convention sometime in 2013.
Over the last number of months, the proposal committee has mapped out a structure and a vision that will lay the foundation for a new union.
In this new era, we need a new way of working, and that's what we're trying to imagine. We're going to take the core strengths that both organizations have today, and then find ways to build on those strengths.
We have to reach out and bridge the credibility gap with non-union workers to show to them that we share the same values as them, and that we can provide an effective means for improving their situation, both at work and in their lives.
So many people are counting on us to form something that's going to be in their best interest, short-term and long-term. And I think that's what the parties have brought to it, and they have been from the onset.
Here's an opportunity to build a better organization, to do what we want to do for our membership, represent them more effectively, have a bigger impact in Canada.
On veut être meilleur pour nos membres, on veut être meilleur quand on fait de l'action politique, on veut être meilleur au niveau de la négociation collective. C'est ça la question de bâtir quelque chose de nouveau.
This new union will better serve our existing members, attract new members, and create a truly powerful force in Canadian labour and politics. Ces recommandations se trouvent dans le document intitulé « Vers un nouveau syndicat ». Les recommandations seront maintenant envoyées aux délégués des deux congrès pour débattre et décider si nous allons de l'avant dans la création de ce nouveau syndicat plus puissant et plus dynamique.